Next up is Max Squires. Now, we've hopefully you would have heard today the strong relationship the university has with Chelsea Football Club and Fulham. It also has alumni working with QPR Academy and Foundation. Max is the under-18s performance analysis for QPR, and he's also a master's student here on the performance football coaching degree program. So Max, over to you.
So as Mike said, I'm the under-18s analyst for QPR. I graduated here like 2016 for my undergrad, so a few years ahead of Jamie, and now I'm on the MSc Performance Football Coaching Programme. So what I'm going to talk to you about today is analysis, purposeful practice and reflection. And I've kind of left the statement on there a little bit triggering as well. I don't care if you do something great, I care if you know why, when and how you do it. Okay? And I'll come back to that, and it is meant to hopefully annoy some people. Where is the focus? So I'm going to give you a crash course in QPR philosophy, hopefully in about a minute and 30 seconds. So we can focus on probably one of these four areas most of the time. For us at QPR, we focus on the developmental needs of the individuals for assessment, basically. And that's incredibly important to what we do and how we deliver back to the individuals. We then run a strength-based capability program. It's the idea around that we want to keep them in their zone of proximal development as much as we physically can at all times through a variety of different methods. So we've got knowledge of others, which is generally our coaches, and then we've got technology and tools, which is where my remit falls. And then sometimes I put a bit of knowledge in there as well. What's really, really important to recognise is that to keep people in this zone of proximal development, it is totally dependent on having your coaches and that knowledge and tools in there as well. As soon as we go beyond that, we start to look at breakdown as well. The developmental pyramid is quite important to our process as well. So as you can kind of see, is that at different age groups, you've got people focusing on different elements. So under 8s to under 10s, you're looking at extreme technique, and then at the highest end, you're looking at this developing expertise, which is more positional elements and the kind of key parts of those different bits. You're then looking at individual learning plans. A lot of the other clubs, Fulham, Watford, Chelsea, nearly everyone now does this kind of focus as well. These are what ours will kind of look like. These are some under 11s, so it's really, really quite simple. And this is from something that we call the matrix for the coaches, and it's kind of like a quick reference pack that they have. But you'll see that the strength is highlighted, so dribbling, core and advanced skills. We want them to work on the quicker execution of those, awareness movements into the box, and then how we do it, we reference some of the practices that we've got there. Now we're going to look at kind of how those IOPs are constructed. They're constructed in three different ways, generally through formative assessment, which is based on your coaches and the head of coaching or your full-time staff coming together and starting to look at basically what that player needs, and they assess those on a regular basis. You then look at summative assessment, which is 2 weeks, 6 weeks, and we build from there as well. And then finally, metacognition. Metacognition is this reflective process that I'm going to focus on today. Metacognition at the FDP, so you're looking at under 9s to under 11s, is mainly based inside their journals. I'll give you a couple of examples in a second, but their journals are constantly used. You're looking at every training session, every match that you can do, and we focus around 3 statements for those young people. It's, can I score, can I make, can I stop? Because when you look at footballers, generally it's based around those 3 statements. That's what you're going to make a career of. And we're trying to get those players to focus their reflection around those statements. At a young age group, can I score can simply be around statements of, can I beat my player? Because I beat my player and then I look to score. What is my ball striking looking like? What do my forward runs look like? And it might not be I'm making an arc run, it's just I'm doing it, quite simply. As you go up, you start to look at the YDP age group, so your 12s to 16s, and you start to add your analysis sessions. Now these analysis sessions, or even analytical processes, are really, really simple. We're not trying to create this analysis paralysis situation that does happen quite often. And then our psychologists start to get quite significantly involved, where they have a psychology session maybe once every 2 weeks, once every 3 weeks, and they'll focus around different topics, not just reflection. They also have their journals, massively important, but they are again dictated by this: can I score, can I make, can I stop? Once you get to the PDP phase, which is my wheelhouse, you have the journals. The journals are a little bit more free. They're just generally a notebook. They will be going through everything within the sessions, what they get out of the sessions, how they do it. Still looking at these kind of 3 sections, but with a little bit more detail. You then get individual analysis, team analysis, and you get psychology sessions on a one-on-one basis and a team basis as well. Learning journals will generally look a little bit like this. As you can see with the younger age groups, it's really, really simple. Some are focused around our language, which is 10s, 20s, 75s, 50s, which is different types of passes. And we get them to think, and then you get a little bit of coach feedback as well. Older age groups, you start to get a lot more detail. So what that indicates to me is their reflective practice has got a little bit better and their own understanding has got a little bit better. Now that's quite important to the next one. So once we're looking at these learning journals, we want them to get involved with Huddle. Huddle is our platform of delivering the footage back to each other. As you can see, a number of different players creating their own playlists around their ILPs. It's not a requirement. It is something that we encourage the players to do. It becomes a requirement at 18s. We use Huddle to allow the boys to basically look back on the games and go, okay, well, I know my ILPs are around core skills. Can I find moments of when I'm performing those core skills? How am I doing it? When am I doing it? Why am I doing it? Is it the right moment? Does it fit into our schoolmate stop? Purposeful practice. So the reason we're massive on reflection is this concept of purposeful practice. Some people, deliberate practice, there's various different pieces of research around it. The way that we deliver it is this focus, feedback, fix it method. So our focus, feedback, fix it is what am I attending to? So if we're looking at dribbling, or actually, do you know, so we've got a player called Armelindo. Armelindo is a winger. He's attending at the moment to his quality of crosses. His quality of crosses can be different between getting an early front foot cross in, it could be getting to the byline and chipping it to the back. He'll focus on one of those. He'll focus on it in a training session or different bits. What did I notice within my practice? His feedback. So it could be that I'm not getting my foot under the ball enough, so I'm not clipping the ball to the back post. What do I do to fix it? Okay, I'm going to try and dig my foot into the ball. I'm going to try and make sure my big toe's coming into it and I'm leaning back as I do it. Can I get a little look in before I get into the box to know who's arriving in the box? This comes back to basically error detection and the IOPs and having the reflection that creates that. If you cannot create the opportunity to be aware of action, it is incredibly difficult to ever learn in that moment. If you don't give them the intent to improve, they're probably not going to attend to the bits of information that you're providing them. And then if they don't have an understanding of the detail, they don't know what to error correct. There's a lot of research that has gone into the idea that you could have somebody who's practiced the same amount of time, let's say 1,000 hours, for example, but somebody who manages to error correct 5 out of 20 mistakes is not going to improve as much as somebody who only makes 5 but corrects 4 of them. There's a big difference in that. And this is why we're trying to get them to engage in this process, engage in the reflection and go from there. So yeah, frequency and accurate error detection is key. This is where it comes into what I do, which is probably my biggest thing, is this individual analysis. Now, I say I do it. We get the boys at 18s to go through every single game. It's 3 clips of what I did well, 3 clips of what I could do better. It helps me understand what their perception of the game is. It helps me understand check for learning, which is huge. The amount of times I'll talk to a player, I'll ask them what they think they did well, and their idea of how the game looked from inside of it is totally different to any feedback that maybe I could give them or a coach could give them. And that is incredibly important for understanding how they view their own ROPs. Are they attending to the right and correct information that you would like them to attend to get them over the line? Okay? And when I talk about getting them over the line, I don't mean making them a Premier League footballer, I mean getting them to the next stage in the process. So for me, that's 23s. Okay? Checking for player phrasing and trends, I want to highlight this. Reason being, you can get players who will focus on the negative so much. So you might have a player, for example, who is looking at their hold-up play. They will focus on the 1 time they got it wrong, not the 7 times they got it right. And as an analyst and who I work with a psychologist quite a lot, it's a big thing for us to try and get them to focus in a different way, focus on the detail of the correct movements, not just the poor ones. We try and coach the do's, don't coach the don'ts. Okay. Guide to reflection on the ILP, it's a dual process. It's not just us dictating to them. Their reflection and getting their buy-in as individuals is highly important. If you get them to reflect and build into their ILPs, they're more likely to actually try and achieve them, in my opinion. It's a long-term process. We've been trying to get this reflection and metacognition ingrained in our philosophy for a number of years. Every age group that we get through, generally you'll have just a higher middle ground of where people are in this reflection and their understanding of how to do it. But you still get people dropping by the wayside as you get people joining the academy process at all different ages. But it will take time. You're not going to build reflection skills overnight. It is a long-term process. Yeah, that's me. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Max. That was some fascinating insights into sort of the individual player pathway that happens at QPR. And it was really good. You shared lots of information there, and it was really exciting to see a current student applying some of the theory into practice, particularly the work around Bruner and zones of proximal development.